The moment the clip opens, you can feel the air already tight. No warm-up, no easing in. Just Crockett pressing Obama with a question that sounds polite, but lands like a warning shot. His answer is steady, too steady. That kind of steadiness people use when they're bracing for impact. Crockett sees it, pushes once, then again, quieter, sharper. The tension flickers in the room. Someone shifts, someone exhales. Everyone senses the collision coming before either of them admits it. You can already tell this isn't a tribute interview. It's a reckoning wrapped in respect, a generational confrontation dressed like a conversation, and the next question is about to turn it from uncomfortable to unavoidable. Crockett starts with a measured tone, too calm to be harmless. Obama nods once, controlled, calculated, but his answer lands a half-second late. She notices. The room notices. A follow-up slips in before he finishes the last word. Not rude, surgical. It forces him to restart his point, and that tiny reset tilts the power on its axis. Obama tries widening the frame, classic reframing move, but Crockett tightens it right back down with a clipped clarification. A single eyebrow lift. A slight lean forward. Micro-pressure disguised as courtesy. He gives a longer justification than needed. Not a mistake, but not confidence either. Someone in the room shifts in their chair, soft but sharp in the silence. Crockett brings up the weight of decisions, almost casually, yet it lands like she's marking a target. Obama straightens his posture. Small tell. He feels the direction she's angling toward. She lets the pause hang. Not long, just long enough to register discomfort. Then the pivot. So when you say responsibility, President Obama, what does that actually mean to you? A clean hit, respectful tone, lethal precision. He inhales slowly, choosing the safest possible path through a suddenly narrow hallway. Crockett doesn't blink, not once. The balance of the interview shifts by millimeters, but the room feels it like a temperature drop. Crockett softens her voice, unnervingly gentle. Let's talk drones, she says, like she's offering him an easy lane. Obama nods, relieved for a fraction of a second. Wrong instinct. Her next line slices through that comfort. When you called them precise, what exactly were you measuring? The room tightens. Obama exhales through his nose. Controlled, but clipped. He broadens the frame immediately. National security, threat matrices, global risk. All the polished language that usually lands, Crockett doesn't let it land. She tilts her head, just slightly, an interrogation tick disguised as curiosity. So, precision, in practice, meant what? Fewer mistakes or acceptable ones? A faint murmur passes through the back row. Not loud, not disruptive, just enough to signal people are bracing. Obama answers with tempo, too fast, then corrected mid-sentence. A stumble he smooths over but doesn't erase. Crockett's eyes track that microslip. She presses, still calm, still polite. Because the family's affected. Did they feel that precision? The wording hits harder than the volume. Obama shifts his weight. Small motion, big tell. He tries a moral appeal about impossible choices. She interrupts, softly. Impossible for whom? Silence. A tight, brittle kind. Someone coughs, immediately regretting it. Obama begins another defense, slower this time, careful footing. Crockett doesn't move, doesn't fill the space, doesn't help him. She lets the weight sit exactly where it belongs. Then the pivot lash. So, when you said it was the right call, was that certainty? Or insulation? A quiet damn slips from somewhere off camera. Obama hears it. He blinks once, longer than a blink should be. Crockett's tone stays steady, unshaken. Measured words, escalating stakes. The temperature rises without her ever raising her voice. Obama reaches for the timeline. confident at first, rehearsed, familiar terrain. Crockett lets him get 6 words in before she slices through it. Hold on. Your statement from that month doesn't match the impact numbers from that same week. Clean hit. He freezes mid-thought, a tiny pause. Just long enough for the room to recognize it. A stutter forms, not in his voice, but in the intention of his next sentence. He restarts. Wrong choice. Crockett taps the table lightly. One finger, one beat. A signal she's tightening the frame. You said operational certainty, but the figures show operational variance. Which one is the truth here? Obama tries humor, a soft chuckle. It doesn't land. Crockett doesn't even fake a smile. The room doesn't either. Silence absorbs the attempt. He pivots. Classic tactic. Bringing up context. Layered pressures. Competing intel. Crockett cuts in with a quiet, razor-edged question. So the discrepancy, is that memory or messaging? His jaw ticks. Small motion. Big slip. He goes on the defensive, narrating circumstances instead of owning choices. Crockett listens like she's watching a puzzle piece fall out of place. That's interesting, she says, tone neutral, because survivors describe a very different sequence. Someone in the back lets out a sharp inhale. Obama hears it. His cadence breaks. Half-second lag, then an overcorrection. Too firm, too sudden. Crockett leans in a fraction. Not aggressive. Diagnostic. President Obama, where exactly did the chain of certainty crack? Because it did crack. His eyes narrow, recalculating the safest escape route. But every direction leads back to the contradiction she just pinned down. Crockett doesn't raise her voice. She raises the stakes. If precision was the standard, then who answers for the days it wasn't? The room shifts, subtle, collective, uneasy. Obama's reply comes slower now, measured, heavy. A man trying to patch a hole in real time, and Crockett just waits, letting the weight of the slip expand until he has no choice but to step into it. Crockett pivots cleanly. No warning, no cushion. Let's talk bailouts, she says, like dropping a match on dry leaves. Obama braces, shoulders tightening before his face does. He knows this terrain. He also knows she's about to redraw the map. She starts calm, almost conversational. You called them necessary stabilizers. A nod from him, measured, prepared. Then she slips the knife. But stabilizers for who, exactly? Obama goes into structured explanation mode. Markets, collapse prevention, shielding ordinary Americans from the fallout. All coherent, all polished, all predictable. Crockett lets him finish, not out of courtesy, out of strategy. Then, so institutions got life preservers, while families got lectures on resilience? The line hits with a pressure thud. Someone in the front actually shifts back in their seat. Obama corrects her framing. The classic, respectfully, that's not accurate defense. But his tone tightens, betraying the effort. Crockett hears it, files it, steps harder. You saved the ones already floating, she fires, still level. And the people underwater. What did they get besides patience? A low murmur runs through the room, immediately suppressed. Not outrage, recognition. Obama pushes back, firm now, citing job loss projections, systemic risk, catastrophic contagion, all true, all insufficient under her narrowing gaze. Crockett cuts the air with a flat question. And when those same institutions turned record profits? Where was the accountability clause? Who made sure the rescue wasn't just a reward? His answer starts strong, then falters at the exact point where oversight becomes hindsight. Crockett spots the flicker before he does. She leans in, voice softer than ever. Because it sounds like the economy got fixed, while the people stayed broken. The silence after that line changes temperature. Obama swallows once, barely visible, absolutely noticeable. He tries a moral justification, shared sacrifice, unavoidable trade-offs. She intercepts. Is that what you told the families who never recovered? A sharp inhale from somewhere behind the cameras. Obama's jaw tightens. He starts choosing words like stepping stones over a river. Crockett doesn't blink, doesn't soften, doesn't rescue him from the weight of the contrast she's built. Then the generational hammer. President Obama, do you understand that for my generation the bailout wasn't policy? It was the moment we learned who the system protects? He freezes, just half a beat too long. Enough for the room to feel the shift. Enough for the power to tilt her way. The heat isn't loud. It's precision burn. And for the first time, Obama looks like he's answering from the past, while she's speaking from the future. Crockett moves slow this time. Too slow. Obama relaxes a fraction, misreading the shift. That half-second of comfort is the trap snapping shut. She places two papers on the table. No theatrics, no build-up. Just a quiet, controlled gesture that shifts the entire room forward in their seats. Here's your 2013 justification, she says, tapping the first page. You called the strike clear, necessary, and proportionate. Obama nods. Careful, rehearsed. He thinks he knows where she's going. Then her finger taps the second page. And here are the casualty numbers from that same week. The room freezes. A true silence, the kind with edges. Obama reads the number. His eyes flicker. Microsecond break in composure. Barely visible. Absolutely fatal. Crockett doesn't speak. She just watches the reaction settle into the room like smoke. Obama inhales. Deep, steady. But the breath catches halfway through. The camera catches it. Everyone catches it. He starts explaining before she asks anything. A defensive instinct he normally never shows. Intelligence was fluid, he says. Operational context shifted. I don't think it's fair to... She cuts him with a whisper. President Obama, you didn't include these names in your public remarks. Murmur, sharp, immediate. Someone whispers, oh shit, and isn't subtle about it. Obama closes his mouth for a full second. Not thinking. Stalling. Rare. Raw. Exposed. He tries again. We addressed every loss. She slices through it. No, you addressed the policy, not the people. Another murmur. Louder now. Heat spreading like a ripple. Obama straightens. Presidential posture. Full authority mode. But Crockett is already stepping into the shadow of that move. You said the strike was proportionate, she continues, voice steady as a scalpel. Proportionate to what? A metric? A model? A risk calculation? He tries to reframe the moral terrain. She refuses to step into it. That number, she says, tapping the page again, is not proportion. It's fallout. The room feels the blow before he does. A camera operator exhales sharply. Someone shifts a foot, scraping the floor. Obama's face tightens. Not anger, not frustration. Something heavier. Recognition. He goes quiet. Too quiet. Crockett waits, lets the silence stretch until it becomes an indictment of its own. Then she delivers the viral punch. Calm, merciless. Did you approve a strike you wouldn't have defended this way if these names had been American? Gasps. Actual gasps. Not dramatic. Human. Instinctive. Obama's eyes close for the briefest moment. End of the breath. End of the defense. End of the room's doubt about where the power has shifted. He opens them. Measured. Older. He answers slower now, stripped of the certainty he walked in with. And Crockett just listens, letting the weight of the question hang over everything he says next. Obama tries to steady himself. Classic return to moral grounding. We have to remember the values that guided every decision, he begins. safe terrain, familiar rhetoric, the kind of line that usually resets a room. Crockett doesn't let it reset anything. She leans back, not forward, throwing the angle off balance, a power move disguised as casual posture. Values, she repeats, quiet, almost reflective. Then the strike. Respectfully. That sounds like the comfort of distance. A low ripple moves through the room. Not outrage, agreement. Obama hears it. His jaw sets. The reversal begins. He tries to reclaim ground, lowering his voice, adding weight. No one carried that burden more seriously than I did. Crockett tilts her head, unimpressed. Then why do your explanations sound lighter than the consequences? A sharp inhale from somewhere behind the cameras. Obama shifts, just an inch, but enough to read his retreat. He senses it too. His next line comes faster, too defensive, too rehearsed. Crockett interrupts mid-thought, clean, surgical. You're describing responsibility. I'm asking about accountability. That lands. Hard. Obama's mouth closes mid-sentence. He recalibrates, eyes narrowing, searching for a stable foothold. She doesn't give him one. You say you stood by every call. But when the outcome shifted, your stance didn't. Why? He exhales, measured, but tense. You're oversimplifying a complex reality. Crockett fires back instantly. No, I'm simplifying a moral one. Murmurs spike. Unfiltered. Audible. A camera operator whispers, "Oh man," into the mic. Obama leans in now, breaking his earlier composure. He raises a point about geopolitical constraints. Crockett slices it down with 4 words. Constraints don't bury names. The room freezes again. But this time, Obama breaks the silence first. Not to argue, to retreat into explanation. A reversal so stark, it feels like the floor tilted. He softens his tone, an unintended concession. These were excruciating decisions, he says, voice lower than before. Crockett answers with a whisper sharper than any shout. Excruciating for who? Another gasp. Actual. Undeniable. Obama blinks. Slow. Weighted. He opens his hand slightly, a gesture of defensiveness disguised as transparency. Crockett sees it for what it is. You keep returning to intent, she presses. My generation lives with impact. Power shifts in a single breath. He senses it. She never had to chase it. Obama tries one more pivot. Moral universals, the burden of leadership. Crockett cuts the walkway beneath it. Leadership isn't the burden. The aftermath is. He goes silent. Not strategic, not rhetorical. Caught between defending the past and confronting it. Crockett waits, still, centered. The reversal complete. Obama defending, Crockett defining. And the room already choosing who sounds like the future. Crockett lowers her voice, barely above a murmur, instant shift. The room leans in without meaning to. Let's slow down, she says. And somehow, that feels more dangerous than anything before. Obama straightens. Reflex. Preparation or fear? Hard to tell. She asks the next question, like she's handing him a glass that might crack. When the pursuit of stability left new wounds, who carried the cost you didn't? Obama opens his mouth too quickly. A tell. He's rushing to fill space, not to make a point. His answer starts broad, moral, familiar, then narrows as he realizes she isn't blinking. Crockett watches every syllable, every micro-hesitation, every shift of weight. She's dissecting, not debating. He pivots to complexity, the oldest shield in political language. Crockett nods once, a trap disguised as agreement. Complicated, she says softly, is what people hear right before they learn they were left out of the equation. A muffled reaction ripples across the room. Someone lets out a quiet, Not disrespect. Recognition. Obama slows down now. Way down. The cadence isn't presidential anymore. It's careful, exposed. Measured like he's checking the ground for cracks as he steps. Crockett keeps her posture neutral, not leaning in, not backing off. Just holding him there, in the smallest space of the entire interview. President Obama, she continues, voice still soft enough to sharpen the air. If the policy saved the system but scarred the people, is that a success or a wound with nicer language? His eyes drop for half a second. A blink he tries to disguise as reflection. But everyone sees it. He attempts a reset. Long breath. Heavy tone. Moral gravity. She holds up a finger. Tiny gesture. Stops him cold. One more thing, she adds. Where exactly should accountability live? When the consequences don't match the confidence. The room goes silent again. Not the dramatic kind. The kind where everyone knows a line just got crossed, and nobody's sure Obama can step back over it. His reply comes slow, almost too slow, not defensive, deliberate, as if he knows the next words will decide the tone of the fallout. Crockett stays perfectly still, perfectly calm, perfectly cornering. And for the first time, Obama answers like someone standing inside the aftermath, not above it. Obama finishes his last line, and the room doesn't move. Not a cough, not a shuffle, just the weight of everything he didn't say sitting between them. Crockett doesn't rush in. She lets the silence work on him. The most honest moment of the entire exchange. He looks older here, not visibly, but in the way people look when they realize a part of their legacy isn't theirs to protect anymore. Crockett speaks first, voice steady, almost gentle. You've explained the decisions. You've defended the choices. But the people who lived the consequences, they don't get either. They just get the aftermath. A faint exhale ripples through the room. Sad, not sharp. Not a reaction to blame. A reaction to truth. Obama nods once, slow. A concession without words. A recognition that explanation and accountability live in two different worlds. Crockett continues, tone low enough to ground the entire clip. My generation grew up inside the fallout of policies we never voted for. We inherited the pain without the power. He doesn't argue. He doesn't reframe. He just listens. The first true shift since the confrontation ignited. History will sort the intent, she adds. But impact, that's the part we're still carrying. A deep quiet settles, the kind that feels less like tension and more like reckoning. Obama finally responds, voice stripped of the earlier armor. Maybe legacy isn't what we meant to do. Maybe it's what people remember in spite of us. Crockett nods once, not triumphant, not accusatory, just acknowledging the truth he finally stepped into. The room exhales as one, pressure dissolving into something heavier, quieter, more human. Crockett closes the section with a single line, soft but unignorable. Decisions echo longer than terms, President Obama. And he doesn't disagree. When the exchange ends, the room doesn't bounce back. It just hangs there, heavy, unsettled, like everyone is waiting for air to return to the space. Obama's final words linger, not defensive anymore, but weighted in a way that feels almost overdue. Crockett doesn't press further. She doesn't need to. The confrontation already did the work. What remains is the silence, the kind that makes people reconsider what they thought they knew, the kind that follows a truth spoken too plainly to ignore. This is the part of the clip that spreads, not the heat, not the clash, but the realization that legacies aren't sealed. They're questioned, reshaped, re-owned by the people who live with the results. If you watch this moment live, what question would you ask someone who shaped your generation's story?